I made my major league debut at 20 years old for a team that was fighting for first place in a nationally televised game in front of 40,000 people. But you can find all that information online, the stats, the box score, the highlights. But what you can't find online is the behind the scenes. What did it feel like to actually get that call to the big leagues? What did it feel like when I walked in the clubhouse for the first time and I had no idea where my locker even was? What did it feel like to take the mound at the highest level as a 20-year-old in front of 40,000 people? Well, in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to walk you through. The 48 hours before, what it felt like on game day, and what the experience taught me. And by the end of this video, I'm going to share with you what I didn't even realize when I made my major league debut. So let's dive in. Now, let me take you back to 2011. I'd been in the minor leagues 2 years. I just graduated high school 2 years previously, and we had an off day in Akron, Ohio. Now, if you've ever been to Akron, Ohio, there's not a ton to do there. I think we were walking around the mall. And at the time, the trade deadline was coming up. The Detroit Tigers were fighting for a first place spot, and the buzz around the team was that we were going to make a major splash in the trade deadline. I was the top prospect for the team, which meant that every single trade that they talked about, my name was in it. But I wasn't staying, I was going. So when I saw my phone ring and I saw that it was the manager of the team in AA, I thought, I'm definitely getting traded. So I sheepishly answered the phone and he said, Jacob, where are you at? And I said, oh, I'm walking around the mall. And he said, well, I got good news for you. You're going to the big leagues. You're going to be pitching this weekend. And I'm not sure that it even registered in my brain. I still remember sitting there and thinking, is this real? Am I getting punked? Is this one of my teammates? But no, it was real. And I think this is the thing that fans need to understand. When you see a player get called up and it's on that ESPN ticker and it says so-and-so gets called to the big leagues, or you're at that game and the announcer comes over the intercom and he says, now making his major league debut, you need to understand that it's far more than what you probably even realize. It's years and years and years of hard work to even get to that point in the first place. It's a childhood dream for almost every single player that makes their major league debut that's actually coming true. It is the culmination of so much time, so much effort, so much energy, not just for the player, but for every single person around them. And that's what I want you to understand as a fan is this is a life-changing moment. And for me, that was a life-changing call, but that was just the start of it. So I get the call. I remember calling my dad and just being incredibly excited. He was just as excited as I was. My dad was not one to get easily excited. But then the real fun began. So the traveling secretary for the Detroit Tigers, think about them like they are the go-to person for every need that you have when you're in the big leagues. Tells me he got me set up in this hotel and tells me what the hotel is. And I fly there. Car picks me up, takes me to the hotel. And I still remember checking into that hotel and thinking, this is probably the nicest hotel I've ever been in. And the gentleman at the front desk says, I just need a credit card for incidentals and I need your ID. So I give him my credit card and I give him my ID. And he looks at the ID and he looks at me and he says, is there somebody else checking in with you? I said, no, it's just me. And he said, sir, you have to be 21 to check into this hotel. Now, I can smile a little bit now as I tell that story. But in the moment, I was somewhere between embarrassed, confused, and really unsure what to do. So what did I do? I called that traveling secretary and I said, hey, I'm at the hotel, but they won't even let me check in because I'm not 21. Well, he told me to hand the phone to the gentleman behind the desk who explained the situation, who then profusely apologized of what was going on and let me check into the hotel. But that was like a welcome to the big league moment before I even stepped foot in the clubhouse. I remember that night of the game, not even being able to sleep, just laying there and staring at the ceiling and thinking, I cannot believe this is going to happen. From the hotel, you could almost see Comerica Park. So it's pretty close. And then the day of the game, I'm thinking, okay, so how do I get to the field? I mean, nobody really told me anything. But remember, I'm 20 years old. I don't really know what to do. So I just took a cab to the ballpark. But then where do I go? Right? There's no entrance that says, this is where you go if you're a player. So I just walked in this random entrance, door was open, and sitting behind the desk was this security guard. And I looked at him and I said, I'm starting the game today. I'm not sure where to go to get to the clubhouse. And I think he was as confused about the question as I was confused of where to go. So he called over the intercom. He asked me if I had my player ID. Well, when you get to the big leagues, you get this player ID. Very cool. It shows what team you play for. It has your picture. But I had never been in the big leagues, so I didn't have a player ID. So he asked me for my real ID. I showed it to him, and he's like, sure enough, you are starting the game today. He ushered me down. He showed me exactly where to go down the stairs to get to the locker room. And I remember walking on this little walkway to the locker room. There's like this little rope, and you open that door to the clubhouse. I'd never been in a major league clubhouse other than as a little league baseball player when we did like a behind the scenes tour one day when the team wasn't even there. So when I opened that clubhouse, it was truly like this dream coming true. Like, I cannot believe that I'm walking into this clubhouse. I'm not just walking into this clubhouse, I'm pitching today. So I walk in the clubhouse and there's some people mingling around. I say hi to a couple of people that I recognize, but nobody was really telling me what to do. So I just start strolling around the locker room trying to find my locker, and there it is. My Turner jersey is hanging up in the locker room, in a big league locker room. It's hard to even put into words what that means for an athlete. But as quickly as I wanted to put that into words, you start to realize that I'm here to do a job. So while everybody's saying hi and welcoming me to the team, I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I get into my routine? I got to pitch in a nationally televised game for a team that's fighting for first place in a couple hours. And I'm trying to take all this in. Oh, and by the way, I haven't eaten anything for like 24 hours. One of the pieces of advice that I got was, Jacob, when you get there, you should walk out to the dugout and just take in the stadium. Because this was the first time I was pitching in front of 3 decks. What do I mean by 3 decks? Well, when you're in the minor leagues, the biggest stadiums you'll play in are 2 decks. In the big leagues, every stadium has 3 decks. And that 3rd deck, it makes a big difference. When you walk out there, you take a look around, and you realize the magnitude of what you're about to go into, it's a little shocking. It's a little bit of it's a gut check moment. So I get ready for the game. I remember walking out to warm up. In my warm up, I don't remember anything about it. But what you do remember is when I stepped across the line to take the field for the first time. It's like 95 degrees in the middle of the summer, nationally televised game, 40,000 people. Tigers fans are on a high. Team's playing well. They're trying to make trades at the trade deadline. And me, I threw my first warm-up pitch all the way to the backstop. You might have thought that would put some nerves in me, but honestly, that was like what I did in every game. It was just more magnified because it was my major league debut, and I think there was maybe a cameraman back there, so thankfully it didn't hit him. And then the game started. And after I got the first out, even though I couldn't feel my hands at any point during the game, it did feel like just normal baseball. And it was then that I realized that I'm just competing like any other game. Now, I can say that, but my heart rate was probably over 150. My hands, I couldn't feel them at all. And when I went back to the dugout, I used to sit in the tunnel during every game. Now, this tunnel was a little bit different. If you can put 2 and 2 together and you can think about who was the manager at the time, he was a Hall of Fame manager, and he liked to do something in between innings. And let's just say it got a little smoky in that dugout. So it was a very unique experience pitching for my major league debut in 95 degrees, dealing with maybe a few extracurriculars. But that was what the big leagues was about. It was about new experiences. It was about living out my dream and seeing it actually come to fruition. And the truth was, no matter what actually happened during that game, this was going to be one of the greatest days of my entire life. We lost that game. I went 5+ innings, gave up 2 runs, pitched actually really well. But one of the striking stories that came out of that was I get done with my inning. I come in and I'm standing on the railing, and finally, for the first time that day, I'm actually just able to enjoy it. I'm able to take a deep breath and just look around and understand where I'm at. And I remember that Rich Porcello, who's a pitcher on the team, a mentor to me, said, hey, you can go in, you can ice, you can do your shoulder program. I just remember looking at him and saying, Rick, I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow, so I'm going to stay down here and watch the rest of the game. Because I didn't know if I was going to get sent back to the minor leagues the next day. And I wanted to just soak in the entire experience. So the game ends, we lose. Obviously disappointing, but I'm not really sure if anything during a player's major league debut can really ruin that day. After the game, I still remember going to greet my parents. We took some pictures. I remember my dad bought all the newspapers at the local newspaper stand on the corner behind Comerica Park the next day because they had my picture on there about me making my major league debut. Now, I know that feels like I'm dating myself, newspapers on the corner, but it was one of the most incredible experiences ever. You see, here's what I didn't realize about my major league debut. While on one sense, my childhood dream was coming true, and in another sense, I had no idea what the path that I just stepped on was going to look like. You see, in a few short years, I would get traded multiple times. I would live in 20 plus different cities, and there would be weeks where it felt like my career was me summiting Everest, and I was almost at the top. And there was other times where it felt like I was back at base camp. And that's the reality with pro sports, is there are so many ups and downs. And what you read on the ESPN ticker, what you see on the top stories, it's just a tiny snippet of what the reality behind the scenes looks like. And that's what this channel is meant to do, to give you the inside look at the stories behind professional sports, to share with you the real raw journey between being a professional athlete to transitioning out of the game, to what it looks like to actually maximize your opportunity set and the money that you earn on the field. And that's what I do on this channel. So if you're into that sort of thing, if you like these behind the scenes looks, make sure you follow along. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.